Hey everybody, Brian Von Vie here, back at it again with another set of D&D stories. Today, we're going to talk about that time that your character completely ruined an otherwise emotional moment. Has your DM ever tried to squeeze some emotions out of you? Maybe they killed off your favorite NPC, or the party is close to wrapping up a quest that you've put lots of hard work and many sessions into finishing, or any other feel-good, sad, bittersweet moments meant to tug at your heartstrings. Of course they have. That's the part of any good storytelling. So the real question is, how did you totally ruin that moment? Oh, I'll start. Our party was playing Curse of Strahd for the first time, so possible spoilers, and our DM encouraged us to all pick widely varying alignments. Oh, his plan worked, and we ended up with an overall tense and stressful party dynamic. We had the lawful evil necromancer, the lawful neutral druid, the chaotic neutral warlock, and me, the lawful good cleric. Every one of us had conflicting morals and motivations. By all accounts, we should have been split up and gone our separate ways by session 3-ish. That's where our last player comes in, the chaotic good rogue, Dijo Joe. He was the glue that kept us together. When the rest of us would argue, Dijo would step in with a heartfelt speech about how we all had the same goal. We could do anything if we worked together, etc., etc. The rest of the party all had members they liked and hated, but everyone adored Dijo. He was that perfect combination of awkward and funny that nobody could resist. He was able to bring us all together no matter what conflict we faced, be it internal or external. But nothing good lasts in COS. Towards the end game, Dijo gets caught on the wrong end of a critical hit with some smite added in. He was out of reactions and already bloodied. Damage was over double his remaining HP, which our DM rules as a death with no chance of saves. Dijo's body disappears, and he was the only one with some crucial information we needed to win our battle with the OG vamp himself. I can't remember what that info was. I already had the holy symbol, so I wasn't paying a ton of attention. So now our goal is to find his body and use Speak with the Dead to get that information and give him a chance for some last words. The player obviously doesn't just want to sit out the rest of the campaign, so they roll up a samurai that's supposed to be Dijo's long-lost son. Fast forward to another boss fight that included Dijo as a raised vampire spawn as a minion. So this battle was already emotional, as we not only had to watch Dijo die a second time, but it would be at our hands. After many failed attempts at restraining him, we reluctantly did what had to be done and put him out of his misery. Now comes the Speak with Dead spell. If you don't know, you're given a chance to ask only 5 questions. All of us are close to crying both in and out of character. We get the information we need. And with the next 3 questions, we ask him for his final words and any messages he wants us to pass along to his friends after we escaped Barovia. Tears are actually flowing now. The DM asks us if we have one last question for our friend. Now comes that time. The title of the post. My cleric, whose alignment is more accurately lawful stupid, asks the final question. So, we've obviously met your son. What poor girl did you convince to have sex with you that led to that? And through all the party's angry shouting about my dumbassery that I was all too familiar with, Dijo chuckles and utters his last words. Your mother. Yes, Dijo! This one will be short. Was going with a player's backstory where they found out their brother was the bad guy. Halfway through the touching reunion, where he was going to turn his life around and possibly come back as an ally, the rogue who fell behind finally caught up with the party, takes his knife, and throws it. Nat 20. Brother is dropped in an instant. Table was silent for a good minute before the rogue goes, well, looks like it was up to me again. Before he loots the body and walks off. Everyone else was stunned. That rogue is one bad mother. I had a group of 5 I was DMing for. A neutral good cleric, a chaotic neutral sorcerer, a wizard, a true neutral rogue, and a chaotic good fighter. They were camping in the woods on their way to the next quest when the fighter asks the others out of nowhere, "If I had an emotionally scarring experience, would you 4 be there to support me?" Want to know what each of them said? Alright, well the cleric replies first, then the sorcerer, the rogue, and finally the wizard. Nope, shakes his head. The others begin to laugh, the fighter looks despondent, and the wizard simply drops his jaw. "Well, of course not." "I hope it scars you deeply." "What's going on?" Meanwhile, the group is simply laughing their butts off as this fighter realized that no one cares. Not a soul. This would be brought up more than once and become our group's little inside joke. Hey, look, it's Mental Health Awareness Month for dudes. Care about your fighters, damn it! It's the final battle. Who's gonna screw it up? My character has been battling with existential dread the entire campaign. As a former raider who was now mowing down other raiders, he had conflicted feelings about most fights. He had resolved to lay down his life for the team at every fight. When we arrive at the big bad evil guy's tower and find it flooded with infected, the horde is so thick we can't cut through. So our bard and rogue climb the side while we fight through a smaller group to get into a side tower. I find myself in the circular arena where the big bad evil guy had closed the gates and allowed hundreds of zombies to pour in. We're back to back in the center of the room when I noticed a small gap just above the gate the dwarf cleric could fit through. I went to pick up the dwarf and throw him through the gap. These things never end, and I'm almost out of spells. And I'm running out of arrows. I never thought I would die like this. I have a family to get home to. I don't. No reason we both have to go out here, old friend. Do me a favor. Don't look back. We both know how this ends. Then I rolled a nat 1 and proceeded to just spike the dwarf right into the ground. The very next turn, the bard and rogue figured out the puzzle, and the gates closed, preventing more infected from coming in and allowing us to kill the remainder and escape. And that dwarf never forgot that, I bet. Before I get into the story, credit to Dijo for the best final words I've heard in a while. Absolutely! Okay, on to the story. My party and I all met in prison. We all had our various backstories, but there was one that would be important to this story. The Warlock's backstory. Long story short, the warlord was an orphan, and the only family he knew was his twin sister. The orphanage they lived in burned down, so they were forced to beg and steal to get food and all that stuff. One night, his sister planned to steal from a general who was increasing the village tax, leaving many villagers to go poor and starve. She got the food and the money, but one of the guards saw her as she left. When the guards came to take her away, the warlock pretended to be her. She had short hair like a boy, and they were twins, so they looked alike. He was sent to jail at 16. He had to pretend to be a girl for all those years so his sister wouldn't get caught. I'm pretty sure it was inspired by The Servant of Evil, but I digress. So fast forward a bit. The party escaped the prison and has just arrived in a small town called Oak Step. As any party would do once they reached a new town, we headed for the tavern. We were all wanted and had wanted posters, so we always had to stay in shady taverns because the tavern owners never really cared. So we walk up to the tavern owner, and who do we see? The warlock's sister. The warlock had long hair now, so she didn't recognize him at first, even though they looked like clones of each other. Apparently, this girl had never seen a bloody mirror before, because darn, they looked like the same person. But once it finally did set in, there was crying, hugging, vague threats to not worry each other again, all that sibling stuff. So, what does my changeling monk have to say to the two's happy reunion after being separated for years? Oi, Louisa, stop bloody casting clown. I already had enough of one of these bastards. The world ain't ready for another. For goodness sake, we already have enough problems with the one we've got. The warlock's sister didn't like my character that much. I wonder why. Not my character, but the rest of the party was guilty of this. I was playing the carnival-raised dwarven thief who went by the name The Beard. Being trained in the theatrical arts, I was more of a face. I actively made connections in the local town. A group of thieves, led by this powerful sorcerer, asked me to help them with a small gig. I was to perform a 3-part act while the group went around pickpocketing unsuspecting audience members. And this was small-time stuff, but still a perfect little way to establish trust among thieves. The gig goes off without a hitch, and I consider myself having a new contract to work with. Fast forward a few sessions, and we are charged to track down some bandits at a camp as they kidnapped the mayor for some ransom. Well, it turns out this camp was actually a proper stronghold, and the bandits were actually the thieves I just made contact with. So, trying to get a win-win deal by getting them all to leave peacefully, I decided to negotiate rather than participate in an all-out conflict. Smart move. However, the rest of the party decided to frame me and ruin my chances of negotiation before creating a daring rescue mission to save me. I found out they framed me because I rolled a nat 20 on identifying the handwritten note that was written in purple ink. Our alchemist was the only person for miles to have purple ink. Long story short, I refused to leave and got dragged out. I lost all my things, including some family heirlooms from my carnival days. I did, however, get to keep the knife the sorcerer stabbed into my back because I was running away and was a traitor. Yeah, somehow I was branded a traitor to a group I wasn't part of. The final words the sorcerer said to me, yes, me specifically, was along the lines of, "If I ever see you again, I will kill you." You see, the beard is carnival folk. Family and honor are important, as well as saying what you mean. You betray one, you betray them all. You attack one, they all come back with vengeance. Unfortunately, the beard was in a carnival of one. His new party betrayed him, and now his latest ally betrayed him. In-game and out-of-game, I was pissed. Some time passes and we storm the stronghold with the help of some Ents. After surrounding the sorcerer, she just passes everything off like nothing had happened. She gave back all the items she stole from me without resistance, and despite saying she wouldn't give me anything back, and then she had the cojones to ask me specifically to lead a mission to save her friends. After she swore she would kill me. After she stole everything from me and gave it back as if I was a friend who left it at her place after heading home from a party. After she trusted the rest of my party without getting to know them and downright ignored anything I had to say in my defense. Both in and out of game, I was livid that the DM would do something like this so haphazardly. The beard was so angry, he reverted back to speaking Dwarvish and speaking it in his thick, native accent. Any smart DM would have used this heavily emotionally charged moment to create some character development, rebuild some of the lost trust, and nope. The rest of the party did not let me get a word in edgewise, and all decided to speak for me by accepting the job and going on their way. No conclusion, no fulfillment of death threats, no apology, backtracking, or groveling. Just a new quest, and my own emotions and those of my character were completely ignored. Luckily, that was the last session of that campaign, and we switched DMs. Table dynamics improved, but ultimately disbanded as the next DM felt the DM burnout. I would like to play with them again in the future in some chaotic evil campaign, but at the same time, I'm glad that hindsight allowed me to see that in reality, that table is simply toxic. You know what? You might know someone for years, you might be playing with the same people for years, and they could still be toxic. I'm glad you found out you deserved better, and I hope that the beard somewhere, somehow, in the ethereal realm got his revenge. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, tell your friends, share us out there with the D&D community, as we love to hear from all of you and to inspire many. And leave a comment down below letting us know sometime that your character completely ruined an otherwise emotional event. That said, I love you all. Please be safe, happy, and healthy, and realize every single one of you matters. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.